Happy Mother's Day to my mom and mother-in-law and all the other mothers out there. Pretty nice morning here in Kirksville. Figured I'd give you a quick update on the Daily Express renovation. Noticed several things after I did the last video. I never even gave you a full shot of the exterior without cutting the top globe off there. So yeah, it's obviously been forever since I've done one of these. Just got super busy and kept putting it off. The building was a mess all the time. So I think it's at a good point today to do a quick run through. Hopefully you'll recognize some of it. Some of it will be a little different, but just a quick exterior update. So we had all this front masonry, stonework, all re-tuck pointed. So they cut out all those mortar joints and refilled them. This building was taking on quite a bit of moisture on the front. I was afraid that slab was gonna fall on my head every time I walked in. So pretty happy with the job those guys did. They're out of St. Louis. They're doing a bunch of work over on the city square. So they already had all their equipment up here. Worked out nicely. Looks good. Watertight for now. Let's go ahead and walk in the front door here. This should probably look pretty different. I think last time there was still the glass vestibule here with the entryway right here. We'd only started uncovering the brick, I think, over in this corner. So we got all the drop ceiling, all the plaster removed, all the windows opened up. Got the actual ceiling that was attached to all those ceiling joists down. My brother-in-law Joe climbed around in the rafters, kicking it through for a day and a half. Can't ever thank him enough for that. I think we filled 4 30-yard dumpsters just removing the ceiling and these couple of brick kind of clay block walls that were there. So that was a fun Christmas break. So yeah, I think it looks pretty cool with these beams showing. I knew they were up there. We debated leaving the ceiling joists and just, staining them or having maybe putting a new ceiling on, and I decided this open kind of industrial warehouse look was pretty cool, so we went for it. Got to figure out what we're gonna do with all these ceiling joists. They're 2 by 8 by about 16. They're notched on the ends, and some of them have some water damage from previous roof leaks, but the way lumber costs are these days, I figure we'll either reuse them or sell them. So yeah, this used to be the 2 bathrooms. This was a hallway, had a full wall all the way to the ceiling here and here. And there was no wood framing in this room. I think they were just trying to make it as fire resistant as possible, and everything was just really heavy block and mortar. So a lot of sledgehammering, a lot of dust, pretty messy job that me and Rhonda and Randy tackled for the most part. So looks quite a bit different. Next, I'll probably start taking the rest of this HVAC out now that we're kind of beyond the freezing weather. I just left it in over the weather, so all the pipes and building didn't get too cold. Ripped out most of the electrical and all the rest of the HVAC down back to the actual unit. So kind of trying to get it down to the bare bones to either blast or seal this. I'm not sure exactly what we're gonna do with the finish, but yeah, just trying to get it down to the shell and then figure out what we're gonna do for surface prep and figure out a tenant and plans for improvements after that. So that's what the main space looks like. I'll come back up here in a bit. This is the start of the addition. I'm pretty sure these offices were still here, and this camera room was probably still here last video. So this used to be a hallway here. There was a drinking fountain right here. There was a little tiny bathroom right here. Really rough, like photo processing room here with a ton of HVAC and electrical. There was a big rooftop unit that sat there. So we tore all these framed walls out. Everything was drywalled in. There was a drop ceiling, right about here. Well, where the paint line is, obviously. Insulation above that, HVAC above that. So just spent some time tearing it all out, filling dumpsters. Got it down to the frame. The former employees didn't even realize these big windows were here. So it's a bummer. What could have been, could have had a nice workspace with a bunch of natural light, but for whatever reason, they decided to close them off and metal them up previously. So it's pretty open now. Looks a lot different. I'll run upstairs real quick, but not a whole lot has changed up here. Just slowly been chipping away, trying to get all the materials that we're not going to keep out of the building and just kind of get it down to the bare bones for a fresh start. So I think this looks pretty much the same. Kind of use this as a little office, a couple space heaters when it was cold this winter. Keep an eye on the dumpster for all the neighbors that like to sneak over here and pick through it or throw stuff in it. Me and Matt Kinmore had a little sleepover here one night. That was fun. There were 2 cots, not 1. So yeah, that should be a city-owned free public parking lot here sometime this year. So that'll be cool to have some additional parking here for whatever the future use is gonna be. Still debating back and forth what we're gonna do with this upper level. I'd like to just tear this whole floor out and drop it down to this main floor level so everything's on one level once you get to the main floor. Accessibility is still kind of my main challenge in planning everything out in the future, so still figuring that one out. Coming down the stairs here. So there used to be a drop ceiling, some huge fluorescent electrical fixtures. They were really heavy and nasty. Yeah, you can see the drop ceiling line there. There was also a wall back here by this little back entryway. You can see where the paint changes there. So there was a bunch of conduit running across there, all the fiber board that was all rotted out. And there was a ton of electrical going all along this wall, back into this kind of back, another photo room or